What's good, friendlies and non-friendly ghosts? How's everybody doing? Here we go again. Now, first of all, I have to start this off by saying, this is the last time that I played this game, I swear. It's only like the fourth or fifth playthrough that I've done, and I found something else. So we're back in here with Patch Notes 2.0. We left off with the Who turn. We have found something even better than the Who turn. I found the turbo button. I found the Sonic the Hedgehog button. If you ever wanted to play Dragon like Sonic the Hedgehog, then you have found yourself into a proper place of bootleggedness. I was recording a project that is coming out in the coming days. It's going to be like a playthrough. It's going to be 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours long. And I found this out like near the end. So to do the, what should we call this? Let's just call it the Turbo Rynn. Now to do the Turbo Rynn technique, first have a melee weapon out, hold strafe and do a diagonal jump forward. Now before you jump forward, you want to hit the defensive button, hold forward, and that's it. And voila, you have Rynn running at super fast speeds. This only lasts for a temporary amount of time if you do this the default way. So I'm going to give you the patched up version of this, which is the real secret sauce here. To do an infinite Turbo Rynn Chipotle Sonic the Hedgehog technique, have a shield equipped to win. When you have the shield equipped, you want to hold the defensive button down the entire time while having a melee weapon out. Now you do the diagonal jump forward, hit the defense button before she finishes the jumping animation, and still start running at a super fast speed. Now the trick to doing it infinitely, instead of holding the analog stick, you want to tap the analog stick. So you tap it forward, you tap it sideways, you wiggle it around. You just don't hold it for too long. The longer you hold it, it's going to eventually come to an end. And Rynn will infinitely run or move at a insane speed that outclasses anything else movement-wise in the game for Rynn. There is a risk and reward factor. The reward is obvious. The risk is that it acts like the Who turn in that it has teleportation properties. More teleportation properties than the Who turn even. Because you're not just standing in a stationary square on a map. You're not in a stationary position on the map. You're constantly moving throughout the map, and there's a chance that she will fall through the map. You know, there's a chance. But if you have the shield equipped and you do it infinitely, I find that it goes a lot smoother. So that's the risk reward factor of it, is that you can fall through and it could kill your character. I wouldn't be surprised if at this rate I find a way to make Rynn fly. I wouldn't be surprised at this rate. But yeah, we now have an official turbo button combination. So the speed runs for at least the Rynn sections are probably going to be just a little bit faster, maybe.
Oh my!
It acts similarly to the when Rynn has a structure or a ceiling or a cave over her head and you press the jump button, which speedrunners tend to do to gain extra speed. It's similar to that, except you don't need that anymore. There is a period of inactivity after the Rynn Dash takes place, where she will glide and sort of float, similar to the magic glitch where you use that to reach higher distances and, you know, kind of fly for a little bit. Similar to that, this works in the same vein, except you don't get the same height because you can't jump off the ground. You do this on the ground. And so there's a period where that action takes place after the Rynn Dash is complete. That's a period of inactivity that you can cancel by entering a crouch. But the trick to make the Rynn Dash infinite, to get the most sauce required for your appetite and nutrition, find a nice rhythm, and that would enable you to have a infinitely going Rynn Dash until you run into like some obstacles, some terrain, buildings, you know, rough terrain will also interrupt it, in which case jostling the left analog stick side to side, left to right, will actually allow Rynn to sort of float and glide over them. It's kind of like driving in a way. Like, I was thinking about calling this like the Rynn Mobile, and then I was like, maybe Win the Hedgehog and you know, a bunch of other stuff. Possessed Rynn. We'll get to that part in a while. I was thinking about that. But yeah, another note that I want to note is that the Rynn Dash works typically better downhill than it does uphill. Yeah, it can work uphill, it's just that it's not, you're going to run into many bumps and it's going to interrupt the animation, and you're going to be exited out of the Rynn Dash properties. So I mentioned that I was thinking about branding this Rynn Possessed Rynn stance. And the reason for that, we're going to have to go into the pros and the cons of doing the Rynn Dash. Now the pros are obvious. You get relentless hyper speed. You effectively give the game a turbo button, a sprint button. You know, that is pretty damn self-explanatory in how cool that is. The other pro for this is that, just like the Who turn, it prevents you from taking fall damage while also giving you the teleportation properties. So as long as you can keep the property of the Rynn Dash ongoing, it's kind of like a stance. As long as you can keep the Rynn Dash stance ongoing, you'll be able to go down mountain ranges, go over cliffs, go over anything, and you won't take fall damage unless you go off the map, in which you'll take, you know, fall damage if you fall through the literal map. So you want to have full HP, but if you fall through the map, you're pretty much fucked either way. Which goes into the cons. The other con is that it has soft lock potential, and not just the death traps, not just falling off the map, but as I was mentioning the possessed Rynn stance, I was thinking about calling it that. If you perform the Rynn Dash and jump into a body of water where it's a swimming section, your game will soft lock because she'll sink to the bottom of the ocean. You'll lose control of the character, and she'll hyperly gyrate, endlessly picking up more and more and more speed in a stationary position, and you just can only control turning her left and right. So your only hope in that point is praying that she reaches land, that the momentum carries her to land. But if you lose momentum, you'll just be stuck at the bottom of the ocean with no control, and you know, your game is, you just have to reload, and that's pretty much the end of that. But it does prevent you from drowning. I don't know why. It's just like weird properties with the Rynn Dash the end stance that carries over with it. Yeah, that's going to cover the pros and the cons regarding the Rynn Dash. So onward to strat number 2. Now this is a carryover. This is all regarding the Rynn Dash stance and those, you know, variants that can come from this. Now this next one I'm going to brand as the Rynn Yolo. So from the Rynn Dash or from a strafing jump, you can perform the Rynn Yolo gamble. Now this acts as either a self-destruct or a safe landing. To perform this from the Rynn Dash stance, you just want to simply input another jump from the stance, which you have to do either a forward jump or a neutral jump, and then you want to hit the melee attack button. And if you press it at the right time, usually at the arc of your jump, near the arc, the highest peak of your jump, if you press the attack button, then Rynn will instantly teleport back down to the ground, and she'll take 100% damage, which is effectively is a harakiri. And the other possibility of this is if you time it right, where you're at the lowest peak of your jump, then you can add a safety net for your jump. It allows you to get a new starting point from your jump. So there's use that can be had from doing this, but it's a gamble because you're risking taking 100% of damage, or you're risking taking potentially 100% no damage, right? It's a risk reward that's what we're dealing with right now. Do you want to take the Rynn Yolo gamble? Do you want to take that? Are you willing to risk it? Again, you don't need to use the Rynn Dash to get into the Rynn gamble. You can just do a stationary strafing jump and just follow the same patterns. You want to do you want to preload it, preempt it with a strafing jump, defense button before she jumps, and then you want to do a forward jump or a neutral jump immediately after that, and then you're in position to do the Rynn gamble. That's going to pretty much cover everything for me today. You know, those are the main strats I wanted to uncover and talk about because I found it interesting. I discovered it in the middle of my playthrough project. I discovered it near the ending. I'm happy, but I want to replay through it just to use it. This game is never going to let me put the controller down. It wants me to play it to the end of time. In holy matrimony, in holy macaroni, golly. There are also some other alternatives that are possible using the Rynn Dash setup, like an after image type of thing, but it's not really useful. You just mess around with the same tactics and use strafe after the second jump. I don't know how useful that will be. It's probably just, I don't think it's that useful, so I'm not going to talk about it. But that's going to wrap it up for me. I hope you have found this information useful. I hope everybody has themselves a wonderful, blessed, glorious day. I bid everybody further ado. May peace be with us. Keep your heads up, deuces, don't suppose that you'll stay cool. And if you like this content, be sure to sow some love. But always be sure to sow that love to the people who matter to you. This is ITOwl bidding you farewell. Peace, much love, and stay cool. Deuces.